Hello and welcome to Indiana ArtsDesk. I'm Marcus Jackman. Thanks for tuning in. Every Thursday you hear local art news at 4:20 and 6:20 on ArtsDesk. And if you missed a program that you'd like to hear, you can check out our archives online at bsu.edu/IPR. Click on Indiana ArtsDesk and look for the archives. Coming up this weekend in Muncie is the 10th annual Magna Murder Convention. It's for writers and lovers of mysteries and crime stories. And our guest on Indiana ArtsDesk, a special live interview for the pledge campaign, is one of the authors attending Magna Murder, novelist Mariana Evans. Mariana, welcome.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
Your first novel, Artifacts, has just been published, and I showed you recently that I spilled coffee on it, proving to you that I've been reading it. I've been busy on it.
That's a compliment to an author.
It's a worn book. That means it's a loved book. Why did you take up writing? It was not your first career.
Well, no, I studied engineering and physics in college because I thought I would like to be able to feed my children, and it did serve that purpose. But I've always written, even when I had a day job and 2 little children at home, and now I have a third. So it's just a big love of mine.
So you've been waiting to be a writer, or waiting to have the time and luxury?
Yeah, well, the time and luxury were forced on me because when the third child came, I knew I was going to spend most of that year on doctor-ordered bed rest, and I thought if there was ever going to be a time to write a full-length novel, this would be it.
Why did you turn to mystery?
Well, the story came to me first. I knew I wanted to write about a dilapidated southern mansion. I knew that Gone with the Wind had already been done.
It's that research that makes the difference.
That's right, And the character came to me first. I knew that she would be biracial and descended from both the masters and the slaves.
Now you're speaking of Faye
Longchamp.
Longchamp, okay.
She says it the Southern way.
Uh-huh.
And so I knew who my character was, and I thought, well, how would she support herself in this money pit that she lives in? And I decided that she would dig artifacts that had once belonged to her family and sell them on the black market. And then I thought, well, surely sooner or later she would turn up a body, and that's when I knew it was a mystery.
Artifacts is the novel, and it involves the pot-hunting Faye Longchamp. This is your first novel. I know you're in the middle of your second novel now.
Yes.
What have you learned about the process of either writing or selling or promoting a novel, the first one, that you didn't expect would be true?
Well, I learned a lot about how a book is structured. The first one, I knew where I wanted to go, and I eventually got there. But we went through a really rigorous editing process, and I feel like I learned it was like taking a college course or 2 or 3. And so the second one is going much more smoothly than the first one did.
A good editor makes all the difference. A lot of people, when they start, don't really look forward to editing. At least the students I used to have in composition classes didn't like editing. How have you found your writing to have changed?
Well, I enjoyed the editing process because I had been a consulting engineer, and reports were our product, and it was very common to hand your report over and expect your colleague to slice it up. So it was interesting to see the the thematic things that the editor took into, more than the grammar or anything. It was like, I just don't understand what this character is doing in here, and what's his mental problem anyway. So we had to go to the internet and diagnose him.
Huh, okay.
Yeah.
You get the diagnoses for all your characters and protagonists.
Right.
Well, give us a thumbnail sketch of your heroine and of Artifacts in general.
Well, Faye, as I've said, is a woman with a long heritage that's bound up in this house that she loves. It's called Joyeuse. She's on the verge of losing it, and she turns to activities that are illegal but maybe not completely unethical in her view to support it. And when she turns up a 40-year-old murder, she decides to investigate it herself because she has no notion that the killer might still be there, waiting to stop her.
I see. How long did writing Artifacts take you?
It took about 1.5 years. And it's going to take a little less than that to write the second one, so apparently I did learn something.
And I know that you're in the middle of a trip of promotion.
Yes.
And for a first-time author, and for many authors, self-promotion is the burden upon you. You must get out there and help sell your book, even though the publisher has offered to put it in print. How does that work?
Sure. Well, they do what they can. They work with libraries. They have a following. They send out their catalogs, but then at some point it's your baby, and if you want people to read it, you have to let them know about it. And I've really enjoyed getting out and talking to people that have already read the book, talking to people that want to know more about it, decide if they want to read it. You tend to be an introvert when you're a writer, since you lock yourself up for a year and a half. And
at least you end up an introvert.
Exactly. If you're not, you don't survive. but the people loving part of you does tend to come out when you go to the conventions and to the bookstores and all those places you have to go. I've enjoyed it. And
I know some of the features at Magna Cum Murder this year involve seminars on poisoning and forensic investigation. How important is that kind of realism in your writing, or to you as a reader or an author, that kind of verisimilitude?
I'm going to answer this specific to mysteries, but it may be more general than I think it is. But in mysteries, you're taking a terrific flight of fancy, because most people don't stumble over a dead body every now and then.
Thankfully.
So, and frequently, most murders in real life are not interesting. They're because someone got angry or got drunk. So you're spinning a sort of an ethereal web of a story, and your reader wants to feel rooted in reality. They want to know that that poison does work, or that arsenic accelerant is what would be used, and it would work if somebody poured it on that pillow and lit it up. So I feel like it is important to take the things that are real and make sure they're right. But that may be the engineer in me.
It may be. You're much too practical for a liberal art. Come on now. Mariana Evans is one of more than 40 mystery authors who will be attending Magna Cum Murder. There will be panel discussions, as I said, ranging on everything from the poisons to how to sell your manuscripts to publishers and things like that. Also, the primer on poison with the Poison Lady. The guest of honor this year is Jeffrey Deaver. He's the author of 17 novels, including The Bone Collector, that was made into a movie with Denzel Washington. And for more information on Magna Cum Murder and their schedule in downtown Muncie this coming weekend, you can visit magnacummurder, all one word, .com. Mariana Evans' first novel, Artifact, is available from Poisoned Pen Press. Mariana, thank you very much for being on Indiana Arts Desk this week.
Thanks for inviting me.